Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. I'm Jim. I'm here with my partner Steve.
Hello.
And it's May 22nd, 2021.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our show here on a nice Saturday morning.
Say, I actually miss you guys. Like I said, I hope we start doing this, more than once a week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal.
Yeah. But so much going on, and
Christ, I can't keep it all straight.
hold on, let me see. Check my notes.
Where are my notes?
Bird, look what you did to my notes.
Happy Days reference.
When Happy Days was good before it jumped the shark.
That is correct, of course.
Okay.
Fonzie went back to school.
Yeah. He got a D. Right.
He just wanted to prove that he could do it.
I think we're familiar with getting D's, aren't we?
You may be.
I am. For sure I am. But anybody, welcome back, guys. And lots to talk about. I'm going to turn the mic over to Steve, who has this week's monologue.
Yes, thank you. And I got to say, I was at work yesterday at little downtime during my lunch hour, and I just looked up ESPN, and there was an outstanding article. And 40 years ago yesterday, the greatest college baseball game they tout was played.
Oof.
And it was between Yale and St. John's in 1981. Okay? And on the mound for Yale was Ron Darling. And on the mound for St. John's was Frankie Sweet Music Viola.
Good one.
My Bob Murphy from the New York Mets impression.
Bowling for dollars.
That's right. But I got to tell you, there was probably 400 people at most in the stands, which now means there was 150,000 people, that went to the game, according to Darling and Viola, because every time they meet somebody, yeah, I was at that game. But check out the pitching line here. Ron Darling for Yale.
Yep.
12 innings pitched, 1 hit, a no-hitter through 11 innings. Gave up 1 run, 5 base on balls, 16 Ks, and threw 190 pitches. Frank Viola for St. John's, 11 innings pitched, 7 hits, no runs, 4 base on balls, 8 Ks, and 160 pitches thrown.
Wow.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Who was at the game was Roger Angel, who is considered the greatest baseball writer of all time. In fact, he's still alive, which I find hard to believe, but he is. He's 100 years old and still walks into the New Yorker magazine every day, and he was there. Not only was he there, he invited Smokey Joe Wood to the game, who hadn't seen a baseball game forever, and Smokey Joe Wood was 3,000 years old back in 1981. Smokey Joe Wood, pitcher, 1913 Red Sox, etc., threw gems against Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson. That's how unbelievable this story is.
Right.
So the game goes to 12 innings. They can't hit each other. St. John's finally ekes out a run, and Darling loses the game. Here's another incredible stat about Ron Darling that year. 27 starts, 27 complete games.
Wow.
My point is, I have such a newfound respect for Ron Darling. Not only is he a World Series champion, but this game, I highly recommend everybody. It's still up on the ESPN page, or just go to ESPN and look up the 1981 Yale St. John's baseball game.
Wow.
It is a must read for anybody who loves the game of baseball, and I wanted to bring that up.
Excellent.
40 years ago yesterday.
Excellent. We love a great pitching matchup. And how about Ron Darling now? I think one of the best, color commentators in Major League Baseball on the networks, too.
Yeah.
What a resume. Got a World Series ring. He's lived a charmed life.
Yeah.
Very cool, though.
Again, like
Good
I said,
nostalgia. Frankie Sweet Music Viola.
yeah.
Send us an email. Who does the best, Bob Murphy, Steve, or myself? At Sports with Mono and Mono at Gmail. Great nostalgia, though.
Right.
Great nostalgia. Love it. St. John's, and we're very close to our hearts. Our nephew is a former All Big East player at St. John's. Catcher.
Yes. Captain, catcher.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got to check out that piece, and I'm going to check it out. Definitely. Good monologue, Steve. when I hear that, I want to jump in, but the rule is uninterrupted. So great monologue.
Yep.
Great monologue.
Thank you.
So listen, let's open up our show by saying, thanks again to our sponsor, Coriano Trucking, Summerhill, New York. Hope everything's well, moving into their new headquarters and so forth. So I hope it's going great. And thanks for your support. We got to touch base on the Preakness because we're 2 legs into the Triple Crown.
Correct.
And we had a very interesting dynamic going on with the Baffert thing. And I just want to get this out of the way. We got a couple of weeks before the Belmont, but how about it, right? Medina Spirit, and I had Midnight Bourbon, but Ron Bauer wins the race. Paid a lot of money. Paid $25 to win.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere, and it was awesome to see.
We'll give you credit because last week's show, at the end of our Preakness analysis, you did make the statement, hey, watch out for Ron Bauer.
I know, but
he couldn't make noise. So
yeah.
He made a lot of noise.
But Midnight Bourbon, I knew a bunch of guys that really liked that horse, came in second. But it was a great race.
Yeah.
And it sets it up. But how about, again, the whole Bob Baffert thing suspended in the state of New York by the Racing Association, and somebody says, well, okay, well, what does that matter? Well, that matters that he can't run at Saratoga, which is the crown jewel of horse racing.
He deserves not to be running in the state of New York. I'm going to give the state of New York credit for suspending him until further investigation, whatever you want to call it.
Well, what's taking so long with this, this retest at the Kentucky
Well, the other
Derby?
thing is, it's just not this one horse, Medina Spirit. Obviously, it's the most prominent.
I got it.
He has other horses that have failed tests that's not really publicized.
And we've talked about it in depth, no question about it. But I'm just saying from the a potential impact that he's not going to have Medina Spirit, who I love, but I knew wasn't going to win the Preakness.
It's not a potential. Right. It's a huge impact.
It is.
But I think it's the right call. I think he should be suspended.
I think they're going to lift it before the Saratoga meet starts. And
listen,
right after July 4th.
We shall see. They're investigating, but I'm not shedding a tear for Bob Baffert at 1 iota.
But this gives us good fodder to have on our next couple of shows about the Belmont lineup and so forth, because that's an awesome race. Looks like there's going to be fans in the stands, and with Belmont, remember when American Pharaoh ran? It was like 150,000 people at Belmont, right? Yeah. But anyway, so that's the horse racing thing. Let's move right into the NBA. Steve, my first topic with the NBA, and we'll get to current NBA, but the Hall of Fame. Did you see who got in?
Yeah.
And I have no problem with Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, of course, Ben Wallace, question mark?
Question mark.
Not that he wasn't a very good player, but I mean, does 4 great defensive years get you to the Hall of Fame? Same Hall of Fame with Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett.
I'm not gonna say he's a lock for me. I have a major question mark on that. Like you said, I mean, he was very dominant defensively, but that pretty much was his game. He wasn't really an offensive force, so to speak.
And to say if he wasn't a member of that Pistons team, they don't win the championship, I disagree.
I think he was a major part of that.
Definitely a major contributor, but I'm saying they could have worked around it, I think. But Hall of Fame, I don't know. And this is a very passionate topic of you and I and our brothers and so forth about who gets in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame in baseball, there's Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, and now you got Craig Biggio and so forth. And it's different than the NBA.
I thought Vanessa Bryant's speech was very moving, touching.
You would have expected it to be.
Yeah, but
Chris Webber.
Yeah,
Chris Webber. Yeah, you're nay. That's how we pull it on this show.
C. Webb.
Can I get back to you? That's it. Not a yes. It's not a yes or no.
The numbers are there, but no. To me, he's just not a Hall of Famer. Exactly. So I'm going to say no.
Exactly.
I don't agree with that.
I wanted to disagree with you, but I can't.
And I mean, I'm being honest. My favorite Chris Webber moment is the timeout against North Carolina as a college player.
God, if I got to pull from the archives.
Which cemented the title for North Carolina.
What year was that? 91?
91 or 2. 92, yeah. I think. And there was
that was a good moment
a
for
local
North Carolina.
Burton County kid on that Carolina team, Pat Sullivan from Dakota, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Won the title that year.
He did.
He was a Tar Heel.
But when I thought of these, and I said Garnett and Kobe and Duncan, no problem. But the other guys, I couldn't give you an answer right away. But how about this? And let's talk about Marv Albert calling his last NBA game. Kick, save, and a beauty.
That is correct.
Retiring.
Rejected by Ewing.
Oh, God. We watched thousands of hours of this guy calling.
Marv is now 80 years old, and he is retiring after this year's NBA playoffs, and I think it's fitting. Yeah, I mean...
He was awesome, right?
Yeah,
awesome.
Listen, to us, we grew up on Marv Albert, and...
but there's the asterisk, right?
Right, despite... Yeah,
Do we need to go there? Let's stick with his creds in the booth.
A lot of people know what we're referring to, but we'll do a comedy show on Marv.
And we used to do impressions, Battle of the Impressions, right? You know, when we were kids, who did the best Marv Albert? That gives credence to his legendary status.
Correct.
In the
I
booth.
remain undefeated in the best Marv Albert. That's correct.
That couldn't be farther from the truth, but sometimes we bend the truth on Sports with Mono and
Yes.
Mono. But anyway, kudos to Marv and his sons. Yeah, they're good too.
Yeah, Kenny Albert. And again, not only Marv, it was Al Albert too.
Used to do the sports in New
right,
York,
for local
CBS.
New York on
CBS.
Yeah, he was a prominent sportscaster in the New York area. So the Albert family is
still indoors.
Yeah,
legacy will continue for sure.
Kenny Albert obviously is well in demand, and he's having a great career too.
Yeah, wanted to point out Marv.
Yep,
definitely. Our NBA fans out there. Let's move on. How about this? So the playoffs are underway, and the Knicks are finally going to get underway. Do you think they walk over the Hawks? They're actually putting the Knicks in the second round already, and I go, the Hawks are pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not.
Trae Young is pretty good.
No, I am not by any stretch of the imagination anointing the Knicks are gonna.
Is it 7 or 5 games?
7.
The first 7. Yeah.
They're just gonna walk by the Hawks. No.
Agreed.
The Knicks went 3-0 against the Hawks in the regular season. I think Trae Young missed 2 of the 3 games. One game went to overtime. Nate McMillan is the interim coach for the Atlanta Hawks. He got fined $25,000. However, he said it as it is.
Exactly.
Let's not be naive here that the NBA is not thrilled that New York is back in the playoffs because it's good for business.
Right, but LeBron James can say the guy that came up with the playoff format should be fired, and he doesn't get fined. But they fined Nate McMillan for saying, they want the Knicks in the playoffs.
That's right.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
How dare you even consider fining the commissioner?
Right. So the stage is set. We got the Lakers are going to be representing the West.
Yes, the Lakers won their play-in game.
But the Warriors got knocked off by the Memphis Grizzlies last night. What do you think of that?
I'm glad I didn't touch that game because I would have taken the Warriors for damn sure.
And now with the ability to bet in-game, right? It was halftime. They were up by 13 points. I thought for sure Golden State was going to win that game. And it didn't turn out that way. So the bookies make out again.
So, the debate will be who's going to be the MVP, Curry or Jokic from Denver.
Or Joel Embiid from the Sixers.
Or Embiid.
Those are the 3 finalists.
I'm going with Jokic.
I'm going with Steph Curry.
I'm going.
I think they love this kid. He represents the league well, and
listen,
Jokic, he'll get his turn, but Embiid, he had a pretty good second half of the
Steph
season.
has had his turn, but Steph is more than worthy of winning the MVP. But this Jokic had a phenomenal year.
But usually it's the guy that leads the league in scoring gets the MVP. So that's where I'm leaning.
I'm leaning
Curry.
Jokic. I think he deserves it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that next week. Let's move on, Steve, to Major League Baseball. Another 2 hitters since our last show.
Yeah.
Actually watched one of them. I got a chance, obviously, watching Corey Kluber.
Right.
4, 5, 6 innings and so forth. And this goes back to should Baumgartner get credit for a no-hitter in 7 innings? No.
Yes.
You know how many ninth inning, 8 2/3 no-hitters get broken up. But anyway, Kluber pitched a great game, and Spencer
Turnbull.
Is it Turnbull or
Spencer
Trumbull?
Turnbull.
It might be Trumbull.
It's Turnbull.
Oh, there's a movie with a guy named Turnbull. What was that movie?
Dalton Trump. What are you thinking? Roadhouse?
Patrick's crazy. That's obscure. Yeah.
Please.
But anyway, so there was two more no-hitters, so now they're talking about moving the mound back, or lowering it. Here's a fact I didn't know. It was when the 1968 season, right? It was after that they lowered the mound from 15 to 10 inches.
Right.
I never knew the dimensions. I never knew how much they lowered it, because it still looks pretty high. But there's two no-hitters, and I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to say it for the final time. You can't move the mound from 60 feet, 6 inches to anything.
Well,
because
I tell
it
you what.
changes the game.
I tell you what, as I referenced in...
You're not advocating this, are you? I'm asking.
As I referenced in my monologue, I read an article about Darling and Frankie Sweet Music Viola. Also, there was a very great piece as well. I highly recommend you look up on ESPN that Tim Kirchin from ESPN wrote.
Big fan of his, actually.
Huge. And this is a pretty long piece about the strike and strikeouts. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating that Nolan Ryan, you got to read it, but it hits a home run in telling you exactly what the hell is going on, why the strikeouts, why nobody hits for average.
And they're going to say because they all want to hit home runs. They all, shooting for the
moon.
Well,
I tell you what,
exit velocity.
a lot has to do with the pitchers are being so dominant. Okay. That they don't throw it 89 to 92 anymore. It's 94 now to 98. Yep. And the physics of hitting a baseball and the fact that they can throw on a 3-0 count, a 3-1 count. Filthy sliders and this, that, and the other thing. Because you referenced a guy on the Brewers last week. We never heard of this guy. It was
Corbin Burns or something.
Right. Right. But Kirchin mentions him in the article. It says he's got a slider that makes Mariano Rivera's look like child play because he can throw it at 98 miles an hour.
Okay, but the game has evolved, and this has been happening. But what about 10, 15 years ago when people were hitting home runs every
My point is it gets to the point why the discussion is of moving the mound back, whatever, X amount of inches, feet, whatever.
If they never moved the rim back from the NBA from 10 feet when nobody dunked back in the 50s, and the George Mikan was the first guy to dunk, right? That kind of thing. You can't change the game. It changes everything. You might as well throw out the records because you're not comparing an apple to an apple.
I understand.
That's my
I highly recommend find that article about why the strikeouts. It's such a
because you're right, because now they throw 98-mile-an-hour sliders, which are almost impossible. It's like hitting a wiffle ball in your backyard when you were a kid, right?
There's 2 New York Yankees since the early 1900s that have struck out 5 times in a ball game.
I think Stan did it once, didn't he?
They're both pitchers, and you never get them. One is Bullet Bob Turley, and the other one's Stan Bonson.
Oh, Stan Bonson.
Right?
I think he won Rookie of the Year, actually.
But then, you get to the point of Aaron Judge, who has the Major League record for striking out in 37 consecutive games, and on and on. Kirchin covers every aspect.
That's what he does. He's that thorough.
It is awesome.
Great. He's like a scientist of the game of baseball.
Kevin Seitzer is highly quoted in this article, and Kevin Seitzer's famous for he walked more times than he struck out in his career.
Is that right?
And so Kevin Seitzer's
was he like a player for the Royals? Or something? Yeah. Right.
So Kevin Seitzer's and he's a hitting coach in this. But and I'll finish on this. It's just like Kevin Seitzer played 20 years ago, and his analysis of what the game was like 20 years ago.
And what it is now.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Well, we know the game has changed. It's a different game. The NBA has changed. From that, we try to compare Bird to LeBron, or Magic and Jordan to LeBron. The game's different, and you're right. Good point. It's exactly different in baseball. And with baseball, how about this? We talked about this. Judge is hot as a firecracker right now, but when's the next quad gonna happen, or the lower body distress, or whatever?
Giancarlo strained his
right during the national anthem.
Yeah.
So, and now we got Mike Trout, who you and I talked about. We both concede best player in the game, but he just pulled this calf muscle running around the bases, and now he's out for 8 weeks. That's a big blow
It's huge
for Major League Baseball.
I think the biggest blow of the year is the Yankees losing Aaron Hicks. You talk about I'm done with Aaron Hicks.
Hey,
done with him.
Way done. But give kudos to his agent for getting that deal locked up 2 years ago. Unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
But here's one thing I wanted to bring up, and I want to give a shout out to this Kevin Pillar. Because I saw him. I mean, this guy is tough as nails, classy as could be, good ball player, and he really took it right to the mug. And I just want to give a shout out to him, and hopefully he's recovering well. But what a stand-up guy. We're Yankee fans, but this guy wears a Met uniform, and he wears it proudly. They should be delighted to have him on that team.
I'm a huge fan of him. So I heard an interview with him the next day with this nasally, he's got multiple fractures in his nose, whatever.
Right, raccoon eyes.
But he wanted to single out the pitcher who hit him and said,
that kid was crushed.
It wasn't intentional. I know that. I know this kid, this, that, and the other thing. He goes, you got to forget it. Right, you're a pitcher.
Just like Bryce Harper did when it happened to him, and that was
Kevin Pillar.
Nobody throw. Even if you want to hit a guy, you don't aim for the face.
Kevin Pillar could have been more classy and
big time.
He'll be back. And, it was tough to watch though when they get hit in the face. I think the other story this week was with the White Sox and this buffoon Mercedes. Who's batting 350 or whatever. He looks like a beach ball. But this 3-0 thing, the White Sox are up 15, whatever the hell it was.
15-1, I think it was.
Tony La Russa is getting crucified for coming out publicly and lame-basting this kid. Teaching moment.
The unwritten rules of baseball.
Do you do it in, maybe you do that privately. The bottom line is this kid was going to get drilled one way or the other. I mean, that's your comeuppance.
Right, because the home run he hit off the 3-0 pitch wasn't even a pitcher. They were down 15 runs. They had a catcher.
It looked like a softball game.
It was a softball game.
It was pathetic. And then this kid is dancing and like, ooh, man. However, I think Tony La Russa was right for calling his player out. But I think he should have not really done it on that grand of a public stage.
But
kept it in house.
These young kids think he's this old dinosaur.
Well, he is an old dinosaur.
He is, and he looks kind of awkward.
And let's be real. We talked about Tony La Russa getting busted for his second drunk driving. Back in August. To be fair, why he's the manager of the White Sox?
Because Jerry Reinsdorf thinks he's the greatest manager of all time.
Of course. So. And the White Sox, they lost to the Yankees yesterday. They played today, but they're 10 games over 500.
Yep.
And they got the talent, and we shall see how that transcends going forward.
But you're right.
But yeah, he looks like an absolute dinosaur.
Oh my God!
I mean, Walter Alston looked more sprite. I think when he was 90 years old,
he went
managing
to Bruce
the Dodgers.
Jenner's plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's starting to look a little Caitlyn-ish.
Crochet yarn hanging out of his eyeballs.
Got a facelift. B. Arthur's surgeon.
B. Arthur. Wow. All right, so listen, let's move on. And I want to say our next segment is sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. Hope everybody's well up there, and thanks for your support, Mike. The PGA Championship is underway, and I must say, We didn't discuss it really in depth last week, which we normally do
We didn't
prior to
discuss
the
it at all.
We brought it up that it was happening, but
Yeah.
it is happening. What a beautiful course in
Oh.
Kiowa Island,
I have been
the
there.
Ocean course.
I have actually been there.
You played that golf course.
I did. I was down there for a company function.
Outstanding.
Oh yeah, and it looks.
It plays as ferocious as it looks.
I mean, trust me. I mean, it was a company outing. I had no business hacking
course.
on a course like that.
So you're saying this wasn't the amateur PGA,
But
right?
it is. Oh, it's as beautiful
layout is
as it
gorgeous.
looks on TV.
Yep.
Kiowa Island is a fantastic venue.
Yep.
And listen, 5 under for Louis Oosthuizen.
All right.
You got Mickelson at 5 under. Brooks Koepka at 4 under is right there.
Yep.
And the Masters champ, Matsuyama, is lurking at 3 under.
Okay.
Listen, this is moving day, like
is.
any other major tournament.
Yep.
And the wind, you can see the shirts are blowing, and the the wind's off the ocean. But
85 degrees and
it is
hurricane conditions.
fantastic venue, and
It's
I'm
beautiful.
looking forward to the next 2 rounds.
So listen, we didn't really talk about it. So full disclosure, I'm going to go with this because, the usual suspects, right? Koepka, Thomas, Spieth, all these, DeChambeau, Johnson, right? We thought they were going to be there. Rory again, right? They're not going to be there, so they're not going to win it.
Justin Thomas is
But full disclosure, I had a couple of dark horses that I thought would play well.
Yeah.
Webb Simpson, I thought had a chance, and Scotty Scheffler were my 2 dark horses. They're not faring so well. But your guy Brooks looks like, and when he sees that...
He's all business.
He's
it
a
looks
lion.
like.
When he sees that chicken coming through the bars, he bites it,
He looks like he means business this
He
weekend.
sure does. But, the story of the tournament is Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
And he's leading.
However, I'm expecting Phil to implode today.
Okay. Well, he's got a PGA under his belt, but
He does.
I'm going to say I agree with you. He's not going to win this tournament.
No. And
But Matsuyama, how about Colin Morikawa? These kids,
Yeah.
we still got 2 rounds.
well, I
of
tell
golf
you
to
what,
play.
our resident golf expert, my dear friend George
Forsyth Sprain.
George Forsyth Sprain the
Sprain,
fourth, texted me, and his pick was Colin Morikawa. He texted me a couple days ago.
Defending champ.
Well, he said the pick is Morikawa.
Okay.
And when I tell you George knows golf, he knows golf.
But it is so unbelievable, this course. And you're right. You see guys like DeChambeau, and he crushes it 2,000 yards. Dude, he was hitting a 230-yard approach shot with a pitching wedge. I mean, is it insane?
No, but I'm
But
finding.
you getting that rough. This is U.S. Open rough along those courses.
Well, I tell you what, I'm finding when I see DeChambeau on the TV and swinging, I'm hoping he yank. I'm not a fan. I don't know why. I'm
'Cause he has this-
I'm rooting against him. I don't. I am
Because he has this air of cockiness
Good.
that is almost, hard to digest, right? But the same thing. How about, Justin Thomas?
Doesn't
Jordan
mean
Spieth?
I don't appreciate his talent.
Of course we
but it's
do.
just not. I'm not rooting for this guy.
I know.
He doesn't do it for me.
Well, I don't think he's going to win this tournament. So it's still wide open, and I can't wait to see who wins it. And I can't wait to talk about it. But I had to give my long shots a pick, and I didn't fare so
Still
well.
laughing. It's kind of an inside joke, but our loyal listener, Mike Harvey, what does DeChambeau mean in French? Good one. I've still been laughing for a month. It's
I know.
brilliant.
And I know Mr. Garvey's watching the show from Naples, Florida, but he's also, putting his seatbelt on for the French Open. Big tennis fan, too.
Right.
But you're right. So it's wide open. I'm going to say I like Koepka's chances now that he's near the top, and I don't think Mickelson's going to win.
Nope.
But you're right. What a beautiful place. And good trivia that you were actually at that golf course.
You better believe it. It's a beautiful venue.
I mean, what's the only other course that you can think of where the ocean views are so
Pebble.
magnificent? It's Pebble Beach,
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So, awesome. I can't wait. And then the U.S. Open, we talked about it last show. Mr. Mickelson, whether he wins or loses the PGA, is going to the
It's on to his home
US
course,
Open.
Torrey Pines.
But here's my little funny anecdote from
But Phil got that exception we were talking about, so he's definitely playing.
But who was playing in the first round of the PGA Championship was John Daly. You see what he looks like?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how many beers did he have before he hit the first tee shot?
Don't matter. I mean, Daly, first hole, he chips out and, goes right in the hole, and I think that was the highlight. And, that's it.
But, yeah, got to give him, he's got 2 majors.
He can play it for as long as he wants. He's a PGA champ.
Oh, you could make 3 movies on this guy's run,
The thing about John Daly is he's not a mean-spirited...
Not at all. He's aloof. He's
a good guy.
But he's got a
beats
problem.
to his own drum.
But he's got a problem.
Listen, if he doesn't think so.
You know what people would say?
You
got a problem. I don't think so.
Hey, John, what are you doing Thursday? I got to go to Kiowa play the first 2 rounds of the PGA. I'll be back. Take a private jet back,
But I thought it was cool to see him play. I mean, he wasn't going to win. He was there for, theater and
you and I have gone to majors, this, that, and the other thing.
We have.
John Daly, countless times sitting there watching him. He'd be sitting there, waiting to tee off, and he's got a butt going, leaning up against his bag.
I saw him play in person.
He just beats again.
And he was. He didn't... He was lighting his next butt with the butt he was about to beat.
Absolutely. There's no question.
But it was cool to see, and you still... Again, you got these, if you were a former PGA champion, you get a lifetime exemption, and there's guys that shouldn't be playing, taking up spots on
I think it's...
Is Patrick Harrington going to win the PGA?
Again,
or give it to some young kid like a Will Zalatoris type?
We talked about this with the Masters.
We did.
You win the PGA, have no problem. You can play for as long as you want.
Yep. But listen, next 2 rounds are on deck, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Either you love golf or you hate it, but
we
can't
have a
miss
lot
these
of golf
majors.
lovers out there.
We
so
do.
The next 2 days is going to be pretty good.
And let me write my notes. George Breen,
yes,
guarantees Morikawa.
He didn't guarantee it. He made his pick.
It's
like
his
we
pick.
make our pick. There's no locks in this.
The last pick he made
was,
we thought, he picked Patrick Cantley, I think was his long shot. He's had a rough time in the past couple of years, but it's great to see. And you're right, what a beautiful venue for that PGA.
Yep.
Last time I seen it on TV was the Ryder Cup, right? It was Kiawah Island.
Most likely, yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say so, yeah.
Yep. So listen, let's move on to the NHL, and some great series going on. But looks like it's. Let's start with the Penguins Islanders. Sid the Kid, as we know him. Think he's got a chance this year. I like it. He's
chance for what?
Stanley Cup.
The Pittsburgh Penguins are going to win the Stanley Cup.
I didn't say they're going to win. I say with Sid the Kid.
Well, Sid the Kid is down 2-1 to the New York Islanders.
No, they're up 2-1.
I mean, Pittsburgh is up 2-1. I'm sorry. I think the Islanders are going to come back. This game is the series absolutely is going.
I'm not saying it's over, but I just
so they're going to beat each other up. How about the highlight 2 nights ago? Canadians Maple Leafs. Did you see the John Tavares?
I did.
Now this is one where it was a freak accident. Tavares gets hit, okay, a legit hit. As he's falling, the Canadian defenseman is skating up the ice, and he's trying to avoid Tavares.
Yep.
But the knee, as he's trying to jump over him,
it just happened.
Oh, what a car accident was!
Not a Wilson thing. It was
not
an
at
accident.
Not at all. And John Tavares is a good guy and all that.
No question.
But holy Christ, what a blow that was! And thank God Tavares. He's absolutely concussed, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
I know.
And that was just ooh.
And listen, nobody.
It might have been the toughest or the hardest knee to the face of something.
That
The
we've
only
seen-
worst thing is obviously when they get cut, like a Clint Malarchik with the skate.
I swear to
That
God,
is the most disgusting thing.
You just stole that from my thought, and I swear to God, I was going to bring that up next. That's the most unbelievable thing I've seen on an NHL rink.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it was crazy.
yeah.
You know, it
But
was
I'm just-
Julia Child, Dan, Dan Aykroyd.
Dan
on
Aykroyd
Saturday Night
Saturday. And the chicken.
But you're right. But, you know, hang
I'm
in
just
there,
saying,
John
from a
Tavares.
pure blow of knee to face.
Yep.
And then Tavares trying to, 15, 20 seconds later, just to even, like,
No, he was in next Tuesday.
pull himself up. And then oh, my God.
But we talked about this, and we got an email from one of our listeners, James Walsh, talking about, these guys in the NBA and Major League Baseball, they get injured. These hockey guys, nobody is tougher.
Oh, no.
You know what? If Tavares can come back before the end of the playoffs, he will.
Yeah.
That's how much these guys want to play. But you're right. That's kind of Kevin Pillar-ish. We talked about it, right?
Yep.
And he's a great player, too. But a couple other things. The Caps are down 3-1.
Oh, yeah.
Boston Bruins look
good.
almost very hard to beat.
And the biggest, one of my most despised guys, Todd Marchand.
He's so good, though.
He is.
He's
He's leading the way for Boston.
He's so good. How about this, though? The Oilers. Oilers are down 2-0.
Yeah.
But we want to see Connor McDavid in the playoffs, don't we? I mean, a lot of people don't know about him. We've talked about it. He's one of the best players in the game. Can they come back from 2-0?
It doesn't matter. I'm putting all my chips in with the Colorado Avalanche.
I got to disagree with you.
I'm going Colorado.
I know you like
And
them.
you know what? That West is awfully tough.
It is so wide open. It's
Vegas,
amazing. And we don't see it that much. We don't get
Vegas
to watch.
is pretty damn good too.
They had their run,
Well, they're up 2-1 now.
But you're right. You talked about who was it? Jacques Gallant.
Gerard Gallant.
Gerard Gallant. That was your pick for the.
I think the Rangers are going to hire
What's
him.
going on there? I mean,
It's been quiet.
It's been 2 weeks now.
Yeah, the big news is JD is back in Columbus as the president.
I swear to God, I did not know. I didn't even see
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Hired as president of
Sure.
the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that's where he was for many years prior to, and he was with the St. Louis Blues before that. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So what? Is Messier or not going to happen? Is he going either the front office or behind the bench? You think no?
No, he's not going to go.
Good call, by the way, on Gallant. I must say, I don't know where you knew that.
I'm hoping for Gallant, but I think he's the type of guy that the Rangers need.
Yeah.
The other good thing is, the Canadians and Maple Leafs playing each other. I believe it's the first time since '89, something like that.
Maple Leafs fans are starving for a Stanley
no
Cup.
question.
I mean,
No question. I mean, oh my God.
the way they have to deal with the press is like the Yankees in New York, and right.
Yeah, the way we grew up. I mean, Darryl Sittler and Mike Palmetier was the goalie. Boreas Salming, defenseman.
Lanny McDonald was on that team
early in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a staple franchise.
And they haven't won a Stanley Cup since, 66, 67, something like that, I think. That era.
It's been a long, long time.
And they're starving, and Tavares going down isn't going to help their chances this year.
So today is a very pivotal game. Penguins Islanders, 3 p.m. today.
Big time.
So PGA tournament, and you got that going.
Playoff hockey is awesome.
Bring it on.
Exactly. And these guys will play night after night after night.
They certainly will.
So, anyway, let's move on to our final segment. Hey, first of all, I want to mention that, we haven't completely forgotten about tennis, Mr. Garvey in Naples. We know the French Open is coming, but it seems like they're still dealing with this COVID thing, but other sports are taking its place. But when it starts happening, we'll be talking about it.
Right.
Notable passings. And Steve and I, this was literally almost right after the show last week, Rennie Stennett. And, Pittsburgh Pirate, only guy to go 7 for 7. And we had his baseball card when we were kids, I remember it. And we were young, but we were young enough to remember Him playing second base for World Series champions.
And
led a good life too. Good guy.
70. I think what was he? 72 years old.
72.
Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, 7 for 7. I'll never forget that. That was a huge accomplishment.
Yep.
And he was part of.
He had a triple his last at bat actually on that day.
But guys on that team, John Candelaria was like a real young pitcher who was out. He was
Young.
Oh, young. Willie Stargell, of course.
But he won it with Roberto Clemente on the '71 team, and he was literally on the We Are Family Pittsburgh team.
We Are
that.
Family.
7 for 7, never been done in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah. So R.I.P.
He had a good career. I looked at his stats. 278 hitter, something like that.
Rennie Stenner.
Reliable at second base. Another notable passing, Stephen. I swear to God, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Charles Grodin. We just watched Midnight Run, which is one of the great movies of all time. Top 5 comedies.
Jack, you got the Duke.
Joe Paliantano. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I got the Duke. Hold on. You want to say hi? But the greatest line from the movie was Charles Grodin breaking Robert De Niro's chops on the plane. He goes, I got 2 words for you. Shut the F up. It was so funny. Great actor, great deadpan guy. And the day he died, the reruns of Johnny Carson had the show where he was on. It was so funny.
He was on
the Duke. You're right. The Duke.
Right. Did you really think you were going to get away with stealing my money?
Great movie, great actor, Beethoven, Heartbreak Kid, right?
Heaven Can Wait, he
was
with,
young.
Diane Cannon. Charles Grodin. I was a fan. I was a fan with the deadpan stuff, and
I love them.
Yeah, but to watch Midnight Run.
And I just saw it like 2 weeks before he died. I was laughing. I go, this guy gets no credit for nothing, but he's great. Great character actor.
Jonathan Mordukas.
The Duke.
Jack.
And one last guy from Hollywood. I guess Hollywood. I don't know. The comic scene. Paul Mooney.
Yeah.
79. He apparently wrote all of Richard Pryor's stuff, or did a good portion of it. He was young Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
He wrote his skits when Richard Pryor was on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Kind of a behind-the-scenes guy, but very, very funny actor. And
I didn't really know that about his Richard Pryor.
If you see his mug, you'd say, oh, yeah, that was Paul Mooney. He wasn't in front of the camera as much as he was behind. Yeah. But good... Smart guy.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Notable passing, Paul Mooney, you bet.
So listen, thanks everybody for joining us. And like I said, there's a lot going on. The NBA playoffs are underway, and baseball's heating up, and hockey is going, and horse racing. But please send us your thoughts and comments at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hear from some of our fans quite often, and thanks again. But we couldn't appreciate your support more.
And I want to have one quick shout out to my son Sean, who turned 15.
Wow, the big 1-5, the big Thurman Munson.
That is correct. It's been a tough road for him. He had broken his arm and had surgery on his left arm, and then we had surgery on his right elbow within the month.
Yeah, it was tough. Actually.
So his whole freshman year, sports-wise, has been wiped out, and it's been a tough stretch for him. And I know Sean listens to the show, and I just wanted to tell you, pal, how much I love you.
And happy birthday from your Uncle Jim, buddy.
Happy birthday, my friend.
15, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
It seemed like he was the size of a pineapple, not too long ago.
Yeah.
Speedy recovery, kid. You'll get back on the field.
He will.
All right. But thanks, everybody. We'll catch up to you next week. Send us your thoughts.
sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. We expect to hear the poll about the best Marv Albert.
Give a free gift certificate for a bagel and whatever.
Free ballroom dancing.
Right. Bob Murphy feedback, welcome as well. But thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the sports, and we'll talk to you soon.
You bet.
Bye.